Look, it's like a giant Nintendo DS. This laptop costs $3,000. It has kinda weak speakers and no dedicated graphics card. But there's one thing that really makes me love it. I don't want to send it back, and that's because Starlabs has a different idea of what it means to own a computer. But is that enough? Let's talk about it. Starlabs is a small UK-based operation.
What?
And they purpose-build their laptops for Linux, and Linux only. That's an important distinction, because I feel like a lot of manufacturers shoehorn Linux in as an afterthought, or give it to you as another option. But with this, they're designing for the Penguin from the ground up. That means something. I've put Linux on these other laptops. This one's a ThinkPad, and this one's a Lenovo Legion with an NVIDIA GPU, and for the most part it worked, but there's always been some little thing I've had to fix in the terminal. But everything here, it just works. It's like a Mac, but for Linux. And that translates to a lot of the various elements of its design. So let's talk about that build. This is the Ultra spec. It has a Core Ultra 9 285H with an ARC 140T integrated GPU. 64 gigs of soldered LPDDR5X, a 16-inch 4K matte 120Hz 625 nits. It has a haptic trackpad, I actually really like that. Replaceable M.2 plus a second slot, USB 4 and Thunderbolt 4, 65-watt USB-C charging. It's got shampoo, conditioner, body wash. It's a 13-in-1, and it's got this little thing too, but we'll talk about that later. It's pretty feature-packed, but those aren't the features I care about. First things first, let's look at the display. Now, obviously, scaling and all that's going to depend on what distro you're running. I'm running Fedora with GNOME, or GNOME, depending on how you want to say it. It works pretty well here. It's got great sRGB coverage. It's a 4K 120Hz good-looking matte laptop display. I don't know what else you want from me. As far as performance goes, I mean, you could look up the Intel chip in this and see how it performs. I want to talk about how it performs in the real world. For me, I use it for a lot. Normally, this is the device that runs my set here. When you're watching a video here, or you're watching a video that I've been on short circuit, it's all recording onto this laptop over on the side. I have monitors here with all my notes, and OBS captures everything I'm doing. And while the fans kick up a little bit, it's quiet enough that my microphone here does not pick it up. I also use this for running Fastcraft, my measurement and measurement curation tool. I use it for listening to music, editing markdown files, or using things like LM Studio to do translations like this of old research papers, because I can't read this. Oh, but this has got pictures in it. I do like pictures. Pictures make it a lot easier. But genuinely, with how much shared memory this has, it's actually good use for that. The desktop I had with a 5070 in it didn't have enough VRAM to run these sort of tasks. It's just a fast, good running machine, and it's not a gaming machine. You could play Nine Kings or something like that on it, Slay the Spire just fine. I have played Baldur's Gate on this, and it works, but it's not pretty. If you want to see gaming benchmarks, watch the short circuit video. It may or may not be up by the time I publish this one, so if it is, it'll be in the link in the video description. If it's not, you can figure it out. As far as the rest of the build is concerned, you can do the one-finger MacBook lift up until about right here. It starts to lift up, which is fine if you're in the back of a bus or an airplane or something like that. Or if you want to, like, use your computer like this. Actually, this isn't bad. I could do this for a little bit. Now that it's lifted open, you can see the keyboard, the trackpad, and the speakers. The speakers straight up suck. It is what it is. I asked Starlabs about it, and I was like, hey, you could probably put some DSP on these and make them a lot better. And they said, well, we like to let the user do that and decide how they want it to sound. I don't love that answer. I get it, though, but I don't love that answer. It's not something I can super fault them for, because it seems like every non-MacBook laptop kinda has crappy speakers. The flip side of that is, yes, you can DSP them to be good in software. I just kinda wish that it had been done in firmware, because audio nerd time, statistics show there is a distinct curve the vast majority of people think sounds notably better, and that would be easy to implement. Aside from that, I love the keyboard. The keyboard feels very, very good. I hate comparing this to a MacBook a lot, but it does feel very MacBook-like. All of the shortcuts work well. I don't necessarily love that the power button is on the keyboard like this, but I mean, is it realistically any different from being a power button up here? No, it just feels different. The trackpad is buttery bliss. It's probably the best trackpad I have felt on a non-Apple computer, and I did not realize at first that it was a haptic trackpad instead of a clicking trackpad. The haptics feel very good. But you know what? I think we have to shut it down. That's because we're gonna open it up. This is something that isn't on the spec sheet. And this is what I really think matters. This laptop is an open source nerd's wet dream. Oh, this actually feels really nice. Look at that. Plain, simple, laid out. You can access every screw. Everything's very easy to replace. Like, oh, speakers? Just yeet that out of there. Swap them. Easy peasy. SSD. Extra SSD. Wi-Fi module. Big battery. Which, by the way, 80 watt hours for something without a dedicated GPU. Pretty decent battery life. This computer is highly repairable. In this industry, when people think of things like that, they probably think of framework or ThinkPads. And I feel like Starlabs does all of that, but in my personal opinion, a bit better. I've owned a couple Framework 13s in the past, and I really liked them. But the Framework 13s, at least for me, were not super reliable. I went through mainboard after mainboard with really silly issues, and this machine has been rock solid. I've not had any problems with it. And when I look at the design, it makes sense. There are some things that are just a bit more elegant. Now, we don't get all the little QR codes telling us how to replace parts, but we do get this. Look at these. These two fans are different sizes, and why is that? Well, it's because these two fans will resonate at different harmonics, and as a result, they don't end up amplifying the sound from one another. Each fan can work a little bit less hard, and it's not as loud as a result. They're guaranteeing at least 5 years of open source firmware updates for this, but again, it's open source. You can maintain it, you can change it if you want to. This thing is as open as you could pretty much get on a consumer laptop. This Intel version's using Core Boot plus EDK2, and the firmware for it is developed in-house. And with that, you can do a pretty wild amount of customization in the BIOS down to power profiles, all kinds of different boot settings, more than I'm used to seeing in a laptop. And one more hardware thing is this. You probably saw this earlier, but this is the webcam, but it's not connected to the computer. Why is that? Well, Starlabs says that's because software permissions you just kind of have to trust. But if you really want to disable your webcam, you can just take it off. A webcam can't be hijacked and microphones can't be hijacked if they're not connected to the computer. And I like that. It's a design philosophy that echoes throughout the entire computer, around user control, around being very intentional, and about a focus on things like privacy and repairability. Starlabs' idea of ownership is genuine ownership. Once you have this machine, it's your machine, which is a crazy concept that we have to think about that in 2026. A lot of the parts in this Lenovo laptop, if they break, I can't fix them. If I need to change something in the firmware, I can't. It doesn't come with Linux, and I can load it on there, but I'll have very limited control and limited compatibility. My MacBook over there, I mean, if something breaks on that, I basically have to throw it away and get a new MacBook. And no matter how good a machine is, or how much better of a value certain machines are, in my eyes, that does not make up for a computer that you actually own. So, who is this thing for? It's for people who want to own their computer. It's for Linux nerds. It's for people who want to just use a workstation and don't need good speakers. Maybe you have good headphones. That's probably why you're already on my channel. If you're already familiar with Linux, or if you're a nerd of almost any kind, most of the things you want to do will probably work on Linux just fine. And if you care enough about ownership and repairability to use Linux to begin with, you probably care about having a machine like this. Is it for gamers? No. Is it for ultra value shoppers? No. It's for people who want to vote with their wallet and own the things they buy. And that is how Starlabs has a different idea of what it means to own a computer. Now, I know my normal outro applies more to headphones, but part of it applies to this. The rest, yes, good sound is getting cheap, cheap sound is getting good, price doesn't correlate with sound quality, but vote with your wallet. Catch you guys soon.